Hey guys, I had so many people that got really excited about me talking through Coraline, so I'm here today to do that through Mulan. Now again, you're not going to see or hear any part of the movie, this is just my commentary going over it, so if you're ready, queue up Mulan on Netflix or put in your DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, and hit play now. Loading. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds in. I've got the Disney logo sort of phasing into the screen with the rainbow light kind of thing shooting over top. You will almost definitely be either a few minutes ahead or behind me. Don't worry too much. It's not gonna make or break this commentary, or at least I hope it won't. Right now I've got the watercolor painting slowly showing up on the screen. Walt Disney Pictures presents. And hopefully the clock will help everybody kind of sync up better. There's Mulan with a four-toed dragon, which means that her family was a pretty important family back in China. Only the emperor could have a five-toe dragon on his flags or symbols or anything. The four toes were for the noblemen and the officials, and the three toes were for like the ministers and things like that. It's the most evil-looking bird in all of Disneydom. Could you even imagine dodging a sword to go light this fire to do your job? Like, I would have probably disappeared. That's interesting what's in that. I wonder if that's oil or what they're keeping in those vats that's not going to dry out or rot or anything over time. Obviously wasn't wood. Oh, it's interesting. I think that character on the left, his name is Chifu. Yeah, Chifu. Uh, he says that the Emperor's Council is full at the end of the movie, but he seems to be the only official person we see outside of the military. So where's the rest of the Emperor's Council? And now a nice little pan back over to Mulan, because he said one man might be the difference between victory and defeat. I really wonder what that says on there, and I don't know. I assume it's what she's talking about, or at least relatively like that. Hey, old hey hey. But if anybody can translate that from Chinese, I'd be interested in knowing what it says. Such a strange name for a dog, Little Brother. Like, you think they would have at least put the name in Chinese, so why would they put that in English unless it's supposed to be really important and significant in some way that the dog's name is Little Brother? So I know, like, Mei Mei, I think, is little sister, so there's definitely a Chinese word to describe Little Brother. There's a lot of animals in this movie, actually. You've got Mushu and Cricket and Khan and Little Brother, and that's a lot of animals. I'm sure those are all names on the tablets, but I'd love to know if anybody catches what they are. I'd love to know what they all say specifically. I've got some theories and ideas about what's going on in this temple. Oh, those chickens are funny. Oh my gosh, it's like the original Om Nom with that dog. I'm just gonna cheat. Okay, so her mother's name is Fa Li. I don't think I ever caught that before. I'm pretty sure Grandma there is the voice of Grammy Bear from the Gummy Bears back in the day. Like, I'm impressed that was still around to do this. I don't know if she's still around now or not, but I think she's just awesome. I think I just saw Penelope from Hercules. I go everywhere like that too, with hay in my hair and smelling like animals. And now they just strip Mulan. just just strip her down in a very public place with the door wide open. The more impressive thing is that it's still going to stick around after that. Or that her mom doesn't continue to scrub that off. I mean, surely this is stuff they've been drilling in her head since she was a tiny little girl, so it should be, like, embedded in her memory. And I'm not sure I understand why reciting a weird set of old rules is what makes you a good or bad match for somebody. And see, and then the matchmaker yells at her because her waist is too tiny. So do these women who do this for a living not know that she shouldn't have this little tiny waist or it's going to look bad? Get him, Mulan. You give that baby her doll back. You know, I don't think I ever noticed this before, but she's actually going through different merchants all throughout town. Like, I had always thought that the lady she started with was taking her through this whole journey to get ready, but they're actually stopping at different places along the way. That's a very neat little detail, and I'm sure that's a big deal for the community to, you know, get ready for Matchmaker Day, assuming that's a real thing. So I assume that Mulan is one of like the noble girls getting ready for a matchmaking service and that all the other girls are nobles as well. We really don't have a lot of reason to know anything about the other girls except for the fact that this obviously going to multiple shops to get ready is going to be a pretty expensive ordeal. So these are girls that have dowries and, you know, they have this ceremonial thing down with the umbrellas and how they're supposed to walk and talk and act. So I imagine these aren't, you know, farmhand type of girls. Like, these aren't girls that worked for a living growing up. You just asked for her and then you yell at her for saying present. I mean, if she didn't speak, then you'd say she was stupid. I mean, I think the whole thing here is to just cut her down to get her with the worst match possible because they have more crappy, I guess, Chinese men to marry off than women. Everybody's apparently having girls in this town, so they're out of noble boys to pair them off with. I know that's supposed to be just like a cute little wordplay thing, but I'm sure if that was smeared in Chinese, it would not make a rhyming word in English. And I know something like that shouldn't bother me, but it does. But why was Mulan staring at her like that before, like she's staring at her like something was about to happen before anything had happened? Like the cricket's not on her, there's just some ink on her hand, and she's staring at her like she has no idea how to pour tea. But see, if she drank the cricket, then couldn't Mulan turn around and say, "Your place is dirty, you've got bugs in your cups"? I mean, who's gonna know and just say that, hey, this is specifically your cricket? Like, nobody's seen her with it, and it's not like a pet cricket is really a big thing. I mean, I know there's lucky crickets in China and all, but yeah, it's not like somebody can identify one cricket from another. Just covers her face. I hope you don't remember me. And that's how you know this is not set in America because any American person would have started yelling back, like, "What are you talking about? You." That's just how we roll. Loud with a lot of awful things to say about everything. Oh, she's hiding her face from her dad too. That breaks my heart. It's like she doesn't even want to deal with being asked about it, and he just looks at her and he knows what it went bad. And I'm sure that that's a very scary thing for them because her match is very important for the future of their family. Because in China, your son is your retirement plan. So to only have one daughter, you're kind of like, you're screwed. Like you have no way to keep living, keep making money for your family, nothing. Like your son taking over whatever is how you keep going. There's no social security in China. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure that that's the stone dragon that Mushu is going to break in a little bit. And it's really interesting that Mulan is kind of leaning against it and it's got a very big presence, but it's not active. Like it can't wake up. And I have the idea that Mulan and that, like, it's already guarding her, like, it's already inside of her. And that's why she's not very good at being a girl, because she had to be tough because her father didn't have a boy, so she had to be tough, and she has the dragon guardian spirit in her. Or I guess he's the great stone dragon in this. I'm sorry. Mushu is the dragon guardian, because for some reason this family needs two dragons. I don't know. I don't know. This reminds me of a time when I was on a dating site and this old guy sent me a message saying the older the berry, the sweeter the juice. And that was the most repulsive thing I'd ever heard. It's like, that one must be more beautiful because it's taking so long, but I don't think there's any basis for that. And just like Pocahontas, there she is climbing up to look anyways. Okay, they are the Huns. I wasn't positive since I think it's Shang Yu. He was definitely not Attila the Hun. And see, that's what's weird, because later they're like, the Fa Zhu, he didn't have a son, but if they knew that, then why would they put his name down? I mean, they know he's basically crippled. It just seems really odd, like, why they would do that. Oh, you can see the dad all but biting his lip. He didn't want to say that to her. He just had to do that for public show. Now see, we actually just saw behind Mulan for a second there a really poor looking farmer class family. So we know that this is a pretty well-off family. They've got this huge house with all this space, all these really nice things that are pretty customized, like that sword. And yeah, I've heard it described as a farm before, but I don't see any farming within their walls. So I don't know if that's their house and the farmland is across the way or how that works, but they're definitely up there in social status. Now, her problem right there is she's scared to death for her father, thinking he's going to die, but there's no sane person in the military that's going to look at his condition and say, all right, buddy, let's get you out in the front lines or the most dangerous place. Like, if they're going to take Fa Zhu, they're going to put him somewhere relatively safe where he's like a general making tactical maneuver plans. And see, and here's the thing is like, dad here knows how the military works and what it will go like and how it's going to be. And he's not that over dramatically upset. Mulan literally doesn't know what she's talking about and she's having a meltdown because she doesn't understand. Joining the military is not an automatic death sentence, even in wartime. And here's the dragon again. That's this such a big important figure. And she's like, cradled in it. Can't see how many toes it has. I'd be interested. There's so many, like, constantly it's her reflection, her reflection, her reflection in the puddle, in the not tombstones, in the ancestor tablets. Now this is a good little nuance right here. It's the wife is sad. And Mulan just, it went through her head, nobody loves me like that. I'm not worth as much. And you can see it. And mom's upset in there, but dad's like, I got this, guys, calm down. And that's right there, that look is where she decided, I'm not worth as much as their love. Nobody loves me like that. Nobody will ever love me like that because I'm a weirdo. So let me just do this my way. And that was a four-toed dragon that's guarding their house. And again, another one inside their house, which would suggest that that's a custom-made item for a really higher-up family, because if they were part of the royal family, like some people have suggested, they would have a five-toed dragon. I envy her ability to do that and have her hair all flat and straight how she wants it. Like, I can't do that. And I get she looks different, but I feel like horses rely a lot on smell, so it's okay. It's okay, boy. But I think that's a really big moment of confidence. There's more dragons there at the doorway, but I think that's a big moment of confidence for her that Khan doesn't even recognize her. So she's like, I can do this. I can fake these people out. I can make everybody in the military think I'm a dude. Now, all you're doing right now is alerting the neighbors that something went wrong with her. And their sons haven't left yet because it's not the morning yet. So you don't want them going into the military with her and finding out, hey, I heard them screaming Mulan last night. And now all of a sudden this guy who doesn't have a son has a son here. You don't want those wheels turning in anyone's head, Fa. Shush. Like I said, I know there's have to be names in the tablets, but I'd be interested in like what the names are and or if it said anything else of interest, because that's a lot of light up letters or characters, I guess, for a single spirit to awaken. I think that must have been the grandmother's father or maybe her husband, because that's the only one that woke up and responded to her voice. Okay, I'm not going to say that I dislike Eddie Murphy as Mushu because I think it really adds sort of a fun layer to this movie, but it just seems like, all right, we have a movie about Chinese culture and we can't find any Chinese actor to fill this role that would be just as fun and quirky. You know, I never realized this as a kid, but all those statues of the other Guardians, it's the zodiac animals. That doesn't even make sense. She gets it from your side of the family. This is all one family temple, right? I mean, this is definitely not a graveyard because it's within their walls and it's their own personal little temple. See, your great granddaughter, it's like they're very distantly related at best, and that doesn't feel right. I think Mushu is so kind of tiny and wimpy looking, not just because he was demoted, but because the family is really weak at this point in their history. Like, they have one son that's taking care of the family home right now, and he has essentially one daughter, so they don't have this huge family. They don't have all these sons for their retirement plan. And that makes them a really weak family whose name isn't going to live on. So it makes sense that their guardians would kind of be dying off in that sense, or being really wimpy, tiny guardians. always wonder how he put that gong into the stone to climb up. And I would really accept just about any answer for this, but they give us no reason for why this happened, or where the stone guardian is, or what's going on with this whole situation. I mean, was the situation that he was never real, but they all just believed he was because the other ones happened to be real? Or, I mean, what's the deal? I just want to know the official deal. And now when mom and dad wake up, they're going to think that Mulan destroyed the stone dragon on her way out for just no reason. But yeah, for the stone dragon not to appear, I mean, it's got to be like it was spiritually already with Mulan or inside Mulan or was reincarnated as Mulan or something like that. Because this thing clearly wasn't there and they never touch it in this movie or the sequel. Why can he talk to the cricket but not the horse? Like, even their horses look evil. It's like everything about them look evil. And I'm sure in reality of history, they were like perfectly interesting, normal people for most of their clan there. Clan, horde, countrymen. I don't know what the proper term would be. I feel like Imperial Scouts, if that was their official title, then they would be wearing the same color uniform, but the colors seem to have no differentiating factor in this movie. It's like their horses look so weird. Like, I've seen horses like that on Zoo Tycoon before, and I can't think of what they're called. But they're strangely shaped, kind of stumped in horses, like somebody took their nose and smashed it into a rock. That's when everybody in the theater was like, oh man, this movie's kind of serious and dark, isn't it? Why is the horse so sick of her crap? I mean, he's like rolling his eyes at her almost. Like, seriously, if she just got rid of her self-pitying side and this, oh, poor me, oh, I screwed it up, oh, I'm second-guessing myself, like, she'd already be acting like a man, because she certainly doesn't act like a lady. And it's not like all guys act the same anyways, so, you know, when they're like, oh, we'll spit and hit him on the butt and do the... Like, all guys aren't like that. It's not a one-size-fits-all lifestyle. The pleasurable. Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. It's like, oh my gosh. And then he does the tongue thing, which is like, okay, why'd you say you don't do it if you're going to do it? It's like Dracula and his blah, blah, blah. See, I don't think Mushu has another form, because if he had a bigger, better form, then why would they need a stone dragon too? I love that. She just smacks him in the face and covers her boobs. See, it's clear that other people can see Mushu, but what I don't understand is why does Mushu need to hide? Like, if guardians are something that a lot of families have, then why couldn't he just walk right next to her? He's her guardian. I mean, why wouldn't he? It should be some semi-normal thing to see. Ugh. Gross. You made a friend. That's a good little emotion there that he had with that jump. Like, oh, that's not okay. I wonder if Yang there is missing an eye or what his deal is. It looks bruised, but I don't think he ever opens it. And it's all like smaller and shrunken than the other eye, so it's not like it's swollen up from a bruise. It's like he legit doesn't have an eye. See, yeah, what is it? Ling, I think he just got a black eye and still you can open his eye and see. Oh no, that's like $1 worth of rice. It came out like oatmeal, like, ooh, so appetizing. But see, and that's the strategy for the main unit of the military. You can see there's other units in case he goes around them, but they're less likely if he wants to use brute force to get to the Emperor. So, yeah, they could have put Fa Zhu, like, anywhere else but the front lines, and he would have been pretty much fine. Or, like with Mulan, when they say you're unsuited for the rage of war, so pack up, go home, you're through. I mean, don't you think that Fa Zhu would have washed out with how much he can't stand on his own 2 feet? Oh, I think that dragon in the background has 3 toes on it, if you look closely, which would make sense for sort of a military general's flag. You were just given the worst job in the military. You're a drill sergeant now, son. See, yeah, and Shifu has this huge attitude throughout the whole movie, like he's better than everybody, and he's upset with choices being made, and blah, blah, blah. And you would think, well, this is a secretary, why would he act like that? No, he's like the emperor's secretary, advisor type person, and in ancient Chinese society, the hierarchy, like, was literally the scholars, or the people who could read and write, like, they were the #1 people in society, aside from the emperor and the royal family. He started it, the one curled up in a ball looking like terrified. You know, something interesting too that I haven't really thought about before, but one of the reasons that Mulan was able to pass here is that she had, normal feet, which means she never went through that awful foot binding, grossness, which means her father really loved her so much he didn't want to hurt her. Like, because it was a really painful, suffering thing. And so he loved her so much he didn't want to put her through that, which probably also hurt her matchmaking prospects. But it's the only reason that she's able to be here right now and pass, because she has normal sized feet. See, he says fa zhu, and then the other one says fa zhu. Ugh. And why would they be sending Fa Zhu to these training grounds with his conscription notice? Because, I mean, I know they were kind of just passing them out to everyone, but they knew right there. They said, the Fa Zhu, I didn't know he had a son. So they knew that he didn't need to be trained. He was an experienced veteran. So why would they send him to the training camps? I mean, maybe he was supposed to be a one of the leaders there, like the guy above Shang overseeing him while Shang does the training. And with all those tents there, that makes me think that that is the one training camp for all of China's new army. So surely the people that she grew up with are there too and will run into her and see her face and rat her out. Of course, we know that doesn't happen, but you would think logically that that would be an issue the movie would want to address. Gosh, he sounds like my husband telling the kids how to get ready for the first day of school. You would think, though, if they know that Fa Zhu doesn't have a son, that someone would either be trying to look into that or sort of questioning, did they hire somebody to take their place and do this shameful thing of trying to fool the government here? But no, they're just like, oh, I didn't know he had a son. Oh, well, we must have been wrong. Ooh, getting the hots for Shang already. There's always somebody that has to run their mouth. And I'll do it with my shirt on. There we see a bit of the insecurities of Yao. On this 100-foot tall pole. He's like 3 feet tall. Ugh, that hurts my teeth just to look at it. Well, now it's, 98 feet tall. Was Shang just checking out her butt, thinking it was a guy? He seemed very intent on watching that get rubbed while she went by. Oh my gosh, we're about to play Try Not to Sing. I always thought this was the coolest, like, montage musical bit in a Disney movie. Well, not all of us can talk or sing fight. But if I had a voice like that, I'd talk, sing everything too. See, like, why not say my guardian? Like, he's right there. Pull him out of the bag. He wouldn't be some abnormal thing in this culture to see, obviously. So they'd be like, oh, well, get your guardian out of here. I mean, maybe that's the worst they could do is send him away. But if he's like a spirit world kind of guardian, what can they really do about him, period? Like, he's here. He does as he pleases. I don't send him or take him anywhere. He does what he wants. He's trying to help so bad. It's almost adorable. Mushu's such a good mom. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna write this down. Like, how is that Shang's fault? Till the Huns arrive, heed my every order. See, that's what I don't. All this intensive training, and now he's telling her to go home because she's basically a loser, not making the cut. So, really, I mean, Father wouldn't have gone, Faju wouldn't have gone right back home in a couple weeks. Especially if they were sending him to the training camps, for goodness sakes. Oh, I love this. I thought that was just such an intelligent thing in this movie, and I loved it. She just got around it her way while not breaking the rules. I don't feel like she's a competent enough soldier to have thrown that from there and not risk actually killing him. I remember this red background part used to be a big ad for the McDonald's Szechuan sauce. Yeah, that right there, that kick right there, it was all over the McDonald's Szechuan sauce ad, and I don't know why I remember that so specifically, but I do. Oh no, he's coming for that little girl. I thought this was clever, how they broke this down too. Like, it really showed that they're a very competent, dedicated army, not just barbarians. Like, just because you're evil doesn't mean you have to be bad at it. Like, they're really one of the first that was, like, a really good, competent set of villains. The only reason they really lost here is because Mulan didn't follow the rules they were expecting. His fingers look like claws. I know those are probably supposed to be nails, but because they didn't fully draw in the nail, it just makes it look like he has claw fingers. Praise it, sister. I mean, does Mushu technically have a gender as a spirit guardian creature? He's like covering his eyes like he doesn't want to see. And Ling there really looks like Kuzco in this scene to me, and maybe it's just me, but with his wet hair down like that, he really reminds me of Kuzco. Kuzco, the most convenient lily pad ever. Everybody in the world thanks you for existing, lily pad. Oh, boys are weird. Like, if you saw a bunch of girls get naked together, you can pretty much bet there's going to be some witchcraft coven thing going on or some weird orgy. Like, we don't just hang out naked together, whether it's a bath thing or not. They're just going to hide on that rock forever. Her face and the horse shudders. But, really, he's got a point here. You're looking at mass numbers that would really help versus the Hun army here. And see, yeah, that scene kind of helps to reconfirm that Fa Zhu was going there to be the overseer of the training camp because Shang isn't supposed to make his own decisions here. And what I think his father said 3 weeks, he was supposed to meet up again or get a report or something, and it seems like that's still not happened yet. So within 3 weeks, they've really come a long way, all these soldiers. It's like Shang seems to get like some confusing feelings. And I wonder if just nobody's ever really been nice to him his entire life. So the first person that's nice to him, he starts kind of connecting with on an emotional, like, maybe I really like this person kind of bond. I love that photo. I thought this was a cute little touch too, with Cricket being like the typewriter for the Chinese characters. I love that that horse is just having none of the nonsense. It's such a weird, like, okay, I know it's late at night, but surely he can still see. I mean, he can't see the hay coming out of him. It doesn't seem weird how he just flipped around and a bunch of hay came out. He looked inside his hollow head. It's like, this isn't a bad song, but it's such a condescending song that it always upset me when I first got this soundtrack. I think this actually highlights a really common issue, not just, not a Chinese issue, but universally across a lot of men, is that they think they deserve this perfect girl who's like top A-list, perfect 10 body, and, they're nothing but a list of demands. Like, they have nothing to really offer or bring to the table. They just want, 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 want. Like Pac-Man, want, 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 want. And it's, I don't know, it's like such a frustrating thing. It's like, I know people who have been like, oh, I love your mind but your body sucks, and it's like, well, who are you to say, like, you're a 600-pound fat guy, who are you to say her body sucks? I think that's what irritated me most about Mulan 2, was that those guys who were so shallow about it, they ended up with the emperor's three daughters. See, yeah. I remember first hearing this song, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why are you such a prize? And really, Mulan seems to be one of the only ones who came in with her own horse, so between that and her sword and the way she carries herself, she shows that she has a status right from her presence alone. So, I mean, I would feel like they'd be kind of afraid to really mess with her a lot. All the other normal soldiers there, like, they'd be like, okay, she's way above us. We can't mess with her, or him, I guess. But they're just like, they're so kind of like, I don't know, trolly to her. They just weren't fast enough to get there. Well, you probably will be disappointed searching for survivors, because see how there's no other footprints in the snow. So nobody ran away. And it's still burning, which is really weird, because for the city to still kind of be on fire in some places here, that means a lot of snow recently fell, and the Huns came in without leaving a trace, which is freaky weird. Yeah, I don't either, because the snow prints make no sense. I remember seeing this in the movie theater with two of my cousins, and James came out, and he was like, I've never seen so many dead bodies in a movie. I didn't expect that in a Disney movie. Of course, his voice was much younger then. He was probably like 10. I understand that this is ceremonial, but he can't honestly expect to be a soldier who is heavily reliant on a sword and leave his sword behind. Well, I'm glad that they just had Mushu be silent, because I don't, Eddie Murphy making wisecracks over this situation seems really tacky. See, this movie seems to be very, like, concerned about the footprints, so how did the Huns get away and not leave any footprints around the whole village they burned down? Oh my gosh. I want to know the story for how that happened. I bet he tried to set the cricket on fire and ended up catching a rocket, and now he just took one to the shoulder. And he just ripped that. I mean, they're not meant to be ripped out like that. They're meant to kind of stay in once they go in. I guess they could have stood from a distance and set the place on fire with the arrows, but I didn't see a lot of arrows sitting around either. Yeah, the horse is like, stop trying to pull me, get me out of here. He's not even technically physically real. He's a guardian. Like, can you hurt Mushu? I don't think so. You hear that dead silence and your ears are picking up on every little noise, trying to piece things together. This is such a beautifully crafted scene, this whole war fight coming up here. And you see it, it's like they thought they did something, and they just found out how outnumbered they are. Well, Shang already gave his sword away. He made a memorial out of it. That's why that's not a wise thing to do. You can't mourn in the middle of a battle. You have to really compartmentalize it and get through. You can mourn when everything's over. Another reflection to tell us what's next. And I know there was a lot of, rush right here, but I mean, couldn't stop to say one or two things. I got this. I got a plan. I got like something to show you're not crazy. And I feel like Shang definitely would have seen Mushu. I mean, I know this was a flash in his face, but he's screaming while he's getting shot away. So how did everybody not see Mushu? And I love Shen Yu's face right there. Shen Yu's face right there, and he's like, clever girl. It's like the velociraptors caught him. Sure, I've killed us all anyways, but at least we got them too? Although, to be fair, I guess in a lot of ways, Mulan's kind of expecting to die in combat no matter what. She probably feels like she really can't go home. I don't know if that would be enough to save you. It would pile up so high around them, I would think, that they'd still be stuck. It's the most determined warhorse. You think Maximus was a cool horse. No, Khan was the first really, really cool Disney horse. Before that, they were all kind of passive characters that didn't really have much to do with anything. Like, this is an active, I'm part of this horse. He meant so well. I don't know why he's suddenly being nice to the cricket. Like, okay, you got found in the snow. That doesn't really mean anything. Death is coming. But see, now, like, Chinpo's having to pick up all of them and the horse. Why didn't he just grab the front of it or the back of it and help bring them up? See, and that was a really cool thing about Mulan and why I kind of hate that people are like, no, she's a princess. And no, she was always a warrior until Disney started that Disney Princess franchise line in the 2000s. Like, we never, when I was growing up and this movie came out, we never saw her as a princess. We were never told she was a princess. She was just a warrior, and a really good one. Because Mulan is one of the first female Disney characters to actually save herself and think for herself and not wait for somebody else to fix her problems for her. And it just feels like lumping her in with princesses is kind of taking a lot of that away. It's like what she does for her family, she doesn't do because she likes a boy. Is that a Japanese flag on the medic tent there? Or anybody who's really better at Chinese culture than I am, I'd be curious to know if you know what that detail means. Like, it is true. He has boobs. And how did they contact the medic to get a medic in there? He certainly wasn't with their party before, as far as we could tell. And if we were looking at a real historical movie, this would probably be where it ended, where he beheads her for real. Ooh, he was gonna take her head off with her daddy's sword. That's cold. I feel like Shang is just under the surface, brimming with a really scary level of anger. Like, I know he's supposed to be the leader and he's supposed to be tough and be able to command and be in charge and all, but he's like super flippin' intense here and grabbing people and look, right in their faces. Like, something's not okay with his behavior. Yeah, Cricket, that little fire's gonna save him. They even took the tent. And they basically just said, we're gonna let you suffer and die. But would they be impressed if a girl got a medal with the military anyways, or would they be insulted and angry? Like you did something worse to their family? I mean, really, they don't know that they saved his life because they wouldn't have put him in a frontline position. Although I guess if you think about it, if this same scenario played out in the same way, then yeah, he would have died there in the battle. But if he was in charge of when Shang connected with the others, instead of Shang calling the shots for when he was going to meet up with the general, then maybe it would have been different. We just don't know. You look so pretty. I feel like Cricket's scale is really off there. Like, I don't feel like he's got a consistent scale in this movie for his size. But I mean, if she goes home prior to becoming a hero, isn't she going to be ostracized? And isn't the whole neighborhood going to figure this out? I mean, she's been in training for several weeks now. Her father didn't go into the military, and all his neighbors and servants know that they don't have a son. So there's going to be comeuppance for Mulan's decision here if she goes home right now. The Huns are tough people. Oh, they're right outside the Imperial City. I think that's what that is. I'm not exactly sure what the date is for Mulan, but I don't know. Did they have... What did they use before the Imperial City in China? And they're having a big festival. Oh, yeah, probably because they think that they won against the Huns just now. He said her name like he was happy to see her, and then he flipped that switch of like really controlling, jerky attitude. See, I don't love them as a couple. I feel like he's a very abusive personality just under the surface. Okay, we have fireworks. I'm sure that helps us put a date in there somewhere. Very elaborate fireworks. That's like Disney World level fireworks. The Emperor has such like nice, pretty, long fingers. I'm obsessed with his hands. But his hat looks like a takeout box, and that always bugs me. This is so annoyingly true. I swear, like, yeah, as a woman, no matter what you say, you're always taken less seriously, it feels like. Well, why would they all be gasping immediately? Like, it could have just been, like, the eagle survived because it's a flippin' eagle or falcon or whatever. Yeah, falcon. It's got pointy wings. I call shenanigans that even, like, 10 guys could pick that thing up. It probably weighs 2,000 pounds. Now they're insubordinate and AWOL. I love that they're playing Be a Man under this. Because nobody pays attention to the women. So they're ornamental. They're basically furniture. So you're not gonna dress up, but you're gonna come up, huh? All right. I see how it is. And I like that this emperor is very proverb heavy. Like, he's always got something to say. You know what? If you look in the background around the wall border, that looks like the sort of cherry blossoms that are by Mulan's house that her father was talking about. Who wants to bite the apple and then rub it against their bare skin to use as a fake boot? Like, ew. Here's your boot back. See, they're really just so disarmed that they're being hit by women that they don't know what to do. It's not that they're better fighters than the Huns. Actually, we can date this movie because yeah, our Hungarian leader, Shen Yu, he says that he came over because of the Great Wall. So this is right before, or right after the Great Wall was built, because it challenged his authority and might, or however it was he put it earlier. He did, baby. Just go. Where'd her scarf go? But with the way he was just doing like parkour on the roof, you don't think he could get down there and just start cutting people in half to get to the Emperor anyways? Even if he can't see him right now, I mean, the Emperor's going to have to surface or everybody else is going to end up dying. Because I'm sure those front gates are locked because the Huns might be out there still. Man, if you don't have the cutest ears that are right tight against your head, you just look like a dude every time you put up your hair. That's what this movie taught me, I think. Well, no. Let's confirm that we actually know what we're talking about to each other. Like, I don't trust Mushu to actually get it. So you notice a lot of the Emperor's housing there is red and gold, which is something like only the Emperor would dare to use for a color scheme. You know, power and money and blood. But again, if guardian spirits are a real thing in this universe, then why would they be afraid of one? Like, I know he's kind of acting like Batman or whatever, but it seems like they shouldn't be questioning it to the point that they're afraid. Why hesitate? Just end him. There's no salvation for this character. He just needs to go. But they don't want to make Mulan have to be the bad guy of having to kill somebody. So, or at least not one-on-one kill somebody, because they were fine if she killed him through avalanche. I feel like that's sufficient for his death, but until we see a body, I don't ever feel confident about a movie death. Unless it starts raining down blood, I say he's still alive somewhere. Oh, how cool that they're setting off on both sides, even though only one tower blew up. And that is like, ugh. I mean, it's just such a thing in so many cultures, but I know in Chinese culture especially, you know, you hear about the polygamy marriages and stuff, and I heard it described one time in a book as a teapot may have many cups, but a cup, what would a cup do with many teapots? And that's why a man could have many wives, but a wife couldn't have many husbands. And the weird thing was, it was like, that kind of makes sense. It doesn't make it any better, but I kind of get their logic at least. Just that one wing. So yeah, if the Emperor bows, you have to bow lower than he does. So that's why everybody's like getting down right now. And now she has her honor meter on full and she can go home proud. But you're the only one we've seen working for him. See, I don't see anything in here. I've heard so many people try to argue that this is some moment of the emperor adopting Mulan. He doesn't adopt her, he offered her a job. And when she turned it down, he gave her gifts for saving the country. But if he had adopted her, then Mulan too wouldn't make any sense because she would have been one of his daughters, and so she would have been married off to whoever it was. I can't remember anymore. That movie was so strange. You don't word so good though, Shang. See, and she's disappointed, but she's not like really upset about it. She's just like, oh, okay, that's how it is. I'm moving on with my life. Like, wasn't really planning on sticking around for you anyways, buddy. So like, that's a good way to handle a male-female relationship in a movie. Now, I know that the Emperor is like the proverb king in this movie, but why did he say the exact same one that Mulan's father did? There has to be a connection between those two more than we thought, and I don't think that Fa Zhu is part of the royal family. I mean, their property's really nice and all, but I don't see anything that would signal to me that it's a royal status. But yeah, see what I mean? That looked like the baseboards, the flowers on the baseboard of the Emperor's house there. I like that she wrapped up the sword, but she left like the really pokey end out. Shan Yu. I don't know what I've been saying the whole time, but I don't think it was that. See, to honor the Fa family, not to adopt the Fa family. And I think he's kind of accepted at this point in his life that the Fa family is kind of over because he's not going to have any more kids. So there's, you know, no brothers or sisters running around for Mulan. He doesn't have any brothers or sisters that we see. So it's like once she gets married and has kids, she's going to be somebody else's last name. Or I guess first name in Chinese. But so he's kind of already accepted that his family line is dead and over with, I think. So he's just go with it. I'm going to love my daughter and that's that. And that's a really cool dad to be. She's like, you're surprised to see me at my own house? Grandma is wonderful. See, he's smiling over that spirit. They're smiling over like Mulan's situation there. Like they are like he knew her in life. Because the spirits don't seem to be very well connected to the living. So I bet you that was her grandfather or great-grandfather that was connected to grandma running around there. That's probably what he's smiling at is his, you know, wife or daughter or whatever down there, like being cheeky. Stay forever. See, and the headless spirit says to me that, you know, Mushu's been to other wars before. So obviously taking your guardian off to war is a common thing in this universe. Chickens in the spirit party. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this song. What is this, 98 Degrees or something? It has to be. It has to be something like that. I know NSYNC was in Tarzan, I think. True to your heart. You must be true to your heart. I can't remember the words anymore. My gosh, I can remember like choreographing a dance to this song with one of my friends in middle school. I guess I'm going to hang out here through the credits, even though I don't really have much to say in the credits section. Funny, I couldn't shut up before. Oh, that's interesting. Mulan and Fa Zhu were the same animator. Shang and Fa Li, Mushu, Yao and the Ancestors, Chin Po and Ling, Shan Yu and Falcon and Elite Huns, Khan and General Li, Shifu and Grandmother Fa, Cricky, the Emperor, and Miscellaneous. I wonder why Cricky and the Emperor got their own separate animation team. Cleanup animation. I know I've talked about that in other videos. Like if you watch The Sword in the Stone, or sometimes I think the Aristocats, some versions, they don't have it very cleaned up. 101 Dalmatians, you see it a lot in Cruella's coat too, I think. It's like they didn't go through and get rid of the pencil lines before they painted it. So the cells have this weird like scribbly look in it, and it moves a lot, and it's just kind of the looking like it's not normal Disney quality that you would expect, but it was kind of a rush job to save money. They didn't take that step. Oh, and now we're in Reflection by, I think this was Christina Aguilera that did this version. I never like the like quote real artist version versus the movie version. Like I've never liked it better. I don't know why they do it that way. It's got to be for some kind of award or radio playing reasons, but I mean, like look at Moana and look at Frozen. If you look at Let It Go and oh my gosh, what's the other song? I'm going to call it How Far I'll Go. I'm probably wrong. I can't think right now. But you hear those songs and they have really amazing, powerful singers. And then you listen to like the radio version of that song and it just like, it's sung by these little tween type girls who have no feeling or emotion into it. Like, how can you go from like such a drastic difference? So many painters. Salonga. I know I've heard that somewhere else. What has she done? I'm gonna try and Google it really quick. I feel like she was maybe in Once Upon a Time or something. Let's see. Okay, there's her IMDb. Let's see what else comes up. Mulan, Mulan 2, Aladdin. Oh, was she Jasmine? Wait. Oh, singing voice of Jasmine. She's in My Neighborhood, or My Neighbor Totoro. My Neighbor Totoro. If I could speak, it'd be lovely. Aladdin on Ice. 1 episode of ER and 1 episode of Johnny Bravo. George Takei's Allegiance. That's what it is. I always saw her brought up when George Takei was promoting Allegiance. Always wanted to see that, but I missed it when it came to the movie theaters. It was such an underrepresented, actually never represented part of American history were the camps we had for Japanese Americans. Whoa, whole part of history just being erased there. Alright, now I'm seeing Mulan's Comb come up. Distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution. Well, that would be implied by distributed by. And now I have the Disney logo coming again to wave goodbye. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have 2 other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, hey, I made it to the end. And then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.